Welcome to my channel Starwire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. You're 28 years old, living your best life as a reality TV star and successful podcaster, when suddenly your entire world gets turned upside down. Your parents are sentenced to federal prison, and overnight, you become the guardian to not just one, but two of your siblings. This isn't a movie plot, darling. This is the real-life story of Savannah Chrisley, and what happened next will absolutely shock you. For 2.5 years, Savannah transformed from glamorous socialite to full-time mom, raising her 12-year-old sister Chloe and helping care for her brother Grayson. But now, with her parents Todd and Julie Chrisley finally released from prison, everyone's asking the same burning question. Is Savannah still playing mom, or has she stepped back in her sister role? Well, honey, the answer might surprise you more than you think. Let's rewind for a moment, because this story is so much deeper than what you see on the surface. The Chrisley family. You know them from Chrisley Knows Best. They weren't just your average reality TV dynasty. They were the epitome of Southern charm meets modern luxury, with patriarch Todd Chrisley ruling his household with an iron fist wrapped in designer velvet. But behind those perfectly manicured lawns and sparkling smiles, something was brewing. In January 2023, the unthinkable happened. Todd and Julie Chrisley were sentenced to federal prison for bank fraud and tax evasion. Just like that, their picture-perfect world came crashing down like a house of cards in a hurricane. And who was left to pick up the pieces? Savannah. Sweet, ambitious Savannah, who had her own dreams, her own life, her own career to build. But family comes first in the Chrisley household. And suddenly this 25-year-old woman found herself thrust into a role she never asked for, becoming a mother figure to Chloe, who was just 10 at the time, and helping guide teenage Grayson through the most turbulent period of their lives. Now, let me paint you a picture of what this transformation looked like, because it's honestly heartbreaking and inspiring at the same time. One day, Savannah was focusing on her podcast, Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley, building her brand, dating, living that young adult life we all know and love. The next day, she was learning about school pickup schedules, dentist appointments, and how to braid a little girl's hair for picture day. Can you imagine? The pressure, the responsibility, the complete upheaval of everything she thought her life would be. But here's what's absolutely incredible about Savannah. She didn't just step up, she completely transformed herself. She became fierce, protective, and determined to give Chloe and Grayson the stability they desperately needed during this chaos. For 2.5 years, Savannah lived a life that most people her age couldn't even fathom. While her friends were posting Instagram stories from rooftop bars and weekend getaways, she was helping with homework, attending parent-teacher conferences, and trying to explain to a young child why mommy and daddy couldn't come home yet. But get this, and this is where it gets really interesting. Even during the darkest moments, Savannah found ways to make it beautiful. She created traditions with Chloe, took her on special sister dates, and somehow managed to maintain that magical childhood innocence despite everything falling apart around them. Fast forward to 2024, and finally, there's light at the end of this incredibly long tunnel. Todd and Julie's sentences were modified, and they were released from federal prison. Can you imagine the emotions in that household? The relief, the joy, but also probably some anxiety about how to rebuild these relationships and figure out this new normal. Now, here's where everyone expected the story to go. Parents come home, Savannah hands back the reins. Everyone goes back to their original roles, right? Wrong. And this is what makes this story so much more complex and beautiful than anyone anticipated. On a recent episode of Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley, and I'm telling you, this episode had me in my feelings. Savannah dropped some major truth bombs about what's really happening now that her parents are home. And honey, it's not what anyone expected. When directly asked if she stepped back from raising Chloe, Savannah's response was both surprising and incredibly mature. She said, "I have. But, like yesterday, we went back to school shopping for makeup." Now, that might seem simple on the surface, but let me break down what's really happening here, because it's actually genius. Savannah has found this perfect balance between stepping back in her sister role, while still maintaining the unique bond she developed with Chloe during those crucial years. She explained it beautifully, and it's fun because I feel like I get to be the sister again, so I get to do the fun things with her. But I'm still doing some little parental things, just because, like I said, we did live a certain way for 2.5 years. So I know things that mom may not, or just trying to connect all the pieces to say, this is the dentist, this is the doctor, or whatever it may be. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the emotional intelligence in that statement? Because what Savannah is describing isn't just about practical logistics. It's about understanding that relationships don't just snap back to their original form after experiencing something this transformative. Think about it. Chloe spent some of her most formative years, ages 10 to 12, with Savannah as her primary caregiver. Those aren't just random years, darling. Those are the years when you're transitioning from little kid to teenager, when you're developing your sense of identity, when you need consistency and love and guidance more than ever. Savannah didn't just keep Chloe fed and housed during that time. She became her confidant, her protector, her safe space. She learned Chloe's dreams, her fears, her favorite ice cream flavor, and exactly how to make her laugh when she was missing her parents. You don't just erase the kind of bond because the original parents are back in the picture. And here's what I find absolutely fascinating about how Savannah is handling this transition. She's not trying to maintain control or create competition with her parents. Instead, she's recognizing that she now occupies this unique space in Chloe's life. She's not trying to be mom, but she's also not pretending those 2.5 years didn't happen. She's become something new. The sister who also understands the parenting side, the fun companion who also knows all the serious stuff, the bridge between Chloe's childhood years with her parents and her growing up years during their absence. When Savannah talks about going makeup shopping with Chloe, you can hear the joy in her voice. She gets to be the cool, big sister again, the one who teaches you about lip gloss and lets you stay up a little later on weekends. But she's also the one who knows exactly which Dr. Chloe needs to see for her annual checkup, because she's been the one managing all of that. Now, I have to imagine this transition hasn't been without its challenges, because let's be real, family dynamics are complicated under the best circumstances, and this situation is far from typical. Todd and Julie are coming back into a family that has evolved and changed in their absence. Chloe has grown up, Grayson has matured, and Savannah has been transformed by this experience in ways that probably can't be fully understood by anyone who wasn't living it. But what strikes me most about Savannah's approach is her maturity and grace throughout this entire process. She could have been resentful about having her young adult years derailed by this massive responsibility. She could have been territorial about the role she played in Chloe's life during her parents' absence. Instead, she's found a way to honor both the relationship she built with her siblings during those crucial years and support her parents as they reestablish their roles. And you know what? This story represents something so much bigger than just one family's experience. How many families out there are dealing with similar situations? Maybe not prison, but divorce, illness, military deployment, addiction recovery. Life circumstances that require family members to step into roles they never expected to fill. Savannah's story shows us that these experiences don't have to be just about survival or sacrifice. They can also be about discovering strength you never knew you had, building relationships in ways you never expected, and finding beauty even in the most challenging circumstances. The way she talks about those 2.5 years isn't with bitterness or regret. Yes, it was hard. Yes, it changed her life completely. But she also speaks with pride about the bond she built with Chloe, the growth they all experienced, and the way their family became even stronger through adversity. And speaking of that bond, let's talk about what we're seeing now in their day-to-day life, because the glimpses we get are absolutely heartwarming. Just the other day, Savannah shared that she and Chloe went to the mall together. Not for any special occasion, just because they want to spend time together. They got Starbucks, did some shopping, and just enjoyed being together. That might sound ordinary, but think about what that represents. After everything this family has been through, the scandal, the separation, the media scrutiny, the complete upheaval of their normal life, They're finding their way back to simple pleasures and genuine connection. Chloe is now 12, which means she's right at that age where she's developing her own sense of style and independence. Having Savannah there as both a sister and someone who understands the more mature aspects of growing up creates this perfect support system for her. But let's also acknowledge something that I think is really important here. This journey has been emotionally complex for everyone involved, especially Savannah. In many ways, she had to grow up faster than she probably wanted to. She had to put her own life on pause and step into a level of responsibility that most people her age never experience. There were probably moments during those 2.5 years when she felt overwhelmed, when she questioned if she was doing the right things, when she missed the freedom and simplicity of her pre-guardian life. That's completely natural and human, and it doesn't diminish the incredible job she did. Now, as she's transitioning back into more of a sister role, there's probably some adjustment happening there too. After being the primary decision maker for so long, learning to step back and let her parents reclaim that role requires its own kind of emotional navigation. So what does the future look like for the Chrisley family? Well, if Savannah's recent revelations tell us anything, it's that they're writing their own rules for how to move forward. They're not trying to pretend the last few years didn't happen, and they're not trying to force relationships back into boxes that no longer fit. Instead, they're creating something new, a family structure that honors both their past and their present, that acknowledges how they've all grown and changed, and that allows everyone to occupy the space that feels most authentic to them now. For Chloe, this means having parents who are actively back in their parenting role, but also having a sister who intimately understands her world in a way that only someone who lived through those formative years with her could. For Savannah, it means getting to reclaim some of her own life and dreams while still maintaining the special bond she built with her siblings. And honestly, watching this family navigate this transition gives me so much hope. In a world where we often see families torn apart by adversity, the Chrisleys are showing us what it looks like to use challenging circumstances as an opportunity to build even stronger connections. Savannah could have easily said, "Okay, Mom and Dad are back. I'm completely out of the parenting game." Instead, she's saying, "Let me help bridge this transition and make sure nothing falls through the cracks while we all find our new normal." That level of emotional intelligence and family commitment is honestly inspiring. It shows a young woman who's been transformed by responsibility, but hasn't been hardened by it. She's found a way to embrace both the joy of reclaiming her sister role and the wisdom that comes from understanding the parenting perspective. The Chrisley family story reminds us that resilience doesn't mean everything goes back to exactly how it was before. Sometimes resilience means creating something new and beautiful from the pieces of what came before. It means honoring the growth that happens during difficult seasons and allowing relationships to evolve in ways that serve everyone better. Savannah Chrisley didn't just survive one of the most challenging periods any young adult could face. She thrived, she grew, and she helped her siblings do the same. Now, as her family writes the next chapter of their story, she's showing us what it means to hold space for both the past and the future. What do you think about Savannah's approach to this transition? Have you ever had to step into an unexpected role in your family? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if this story moved you as much as it moved me. Subscribe for more deep dives into the real stories behind your favorite celebrities, because trust me, we're just getting started with the incredible content coming your way. Until next time, keep shining, beautiful souls.